Finding the perfect small SUV for you really depends on how you use your car. What is your driving purpose? If you're like me with a young family, the main question is, will it fit everyone and all their stuff? Because children somehow add baggage. I was in the Honda HR-V this week, the VTi-S version, which is second from the bottom of the range. It comes in at about 28 grand and it's in competition with cars like the Hyundai Kona and the Mazda CX-3. Here's how it did with my family over 7 days of testing. The first thing you notice about an HR-V is that it doesn't feel small on the inside. I've been testing small SUVs for a few weeks now, and some are definitely roomier than others. The HR-V is one of those. Even my husband, who's quite tall, he's 185 centimeters, he had enough leg and headspace. The kids had enough space in the back seat while still being able to climb in here by themselves, and it was an okay enough height to do the kids' car seats up. My children are aged 5 and 7, and they had enough room, even with my husband's driving position. They had enough room for their legs, something they're very vocal about if there's not enough room. I'm 161 centimeters and I also had enough room. I think most adults will be fine back here. It's pretty spacious. The back has no rear air vents, which is pretty standard across the small SUV category. None of them have air vents back here, but as soon as you put the air vents on at the front, the cool air sweeps through the car. However, if you're sitting in the front passenger seat, and I was this weekend, I had a cold, and the air vents just go straight across and just blast at your face. I really didn't love that air vent situation. It's much better if they're placed over the car strategically, I think. Rear passengers won't get any cup holders back here, but you will get a fairly flexible pocket on the front of the back seat and a small bottle holder in the door. This new 2019 model hasn't changed much from the outside. It's still sporty and sleek, it has a sense of playfulness to it, and it looks quite cool for an SUV. I feel quite good driving it on the road. The inside is nicely designed with a high gloss finish on the center console. It just lifts things to a more premium level. You get fabric seats in this VTi-S model. They look good and they feel good. Plus you get a leather wrapped steering wheel and gear stick, which again just gives things a more premium feel. At this price point, I think these interiors are some of the best in the category. You can usually tell where they budget by the finish on the dash, and on the doors they can look hard and plasticky, but not in the HR-V. I was happy to drive this all week. You'll get 2 cup holders in here, and you can either make them deep or shallow, which is actually really helpful depending on what bottle you've got. You'll get a spot under here to pop your phone or keys. Don't forget they're there, don't lose them. You'll get a smallish center storage bin plus a bottle holder in each door. Unfortunately, Honda likes to put its USB point up here on the multimedia screen, which I just find messy because you've got a cord hanging out all the time. Also, while it has a built-in sat-nav and Bluetooth connectivity, it doesn't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, which is now becoming a standard across these categories, so you kind of expect it when you get into a new car, and you might miss it. I did. The speakers are pretty good though. Turn the music up for a stress-busting loud session. The star of the show with the HR-V is the boot, because it's really quite large for a small SUV. At 437 litres, it's bigger than a Kona's or a CX-3's. It's about the same as a Nissan Qashqai's. You'll fit a pram in there, but you can also fit other things besides the pram, which is the really special part. I found it super convenient this week. It also has Honda's famous magic seats, which flip up, and it just means you can transport things like tall plants or even a bike back here. And it drives pretty nicely. There's no heaviness to the steering wheel, but it's not super light either, and it handled really well for me this week. One of the best ways I can describe it is that my mum has this car and it suits her to a T. It doesn't go too fast, it handles properly, and it just feels solid. All HR-Vs come with a 1.8 litre petrol engine, which was perfectly fine for me around on the school run this week and to get to work. It's not going to win you any races, but if all you're doing is driving around suburbia, then it's pretty good. It's a two-wheel drive. There is no all-wheel drive option, which is unfortunate because it means you're missing out on the traction that comes with an all-wheel drive, which is good for when you're driving on dirt or gravel or snow. And there are plenty of other small SUV competitors that do come with all-wheel drive. Parking is fairly easy given the size of the car, and you also get a pretty good reverse parking camera to help you out. There's also a side camera which comes on when you put the left blinker on, which kind of works as a blind spot monitor, but I feel like it's really quite distracting. Safety-wise, you will get airbags that cover driver and front passenger, plus side curtain airbags that extend to the back row. You will also get auto emergency braking that works at low speeds, but you will miss out on some of the more advanced safety tech like rear cross traffic alerts, lane departure warnings, and real blind spot monitoring. If you're after a small SUV, the Honda HR-V should be high on your look list. It really has a lot of interior space and boot space for this price bracket and category. It drives pretty nicely and it looks good too. I gave it a family rating of 7.5 out of 10 because it feels bigger than it looks while still being a nice compact size to drive. My children also gave it a 7.5. They love being able to climb into the back seats on their own. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel or click through to our website.